Good afternoon to the good people. Good afternoon to the bad people, friends and enemies. And a good afternoon, boom, shakalaka to you all. Chris Bates back with you as I bring you the Precursor. It's an intermittent show. We do this when we don't have guests for CBI. So there you go. It's exposing all the nerve endings. So when we're not doing CBI, Chris Bates interviews, we're doing the Precursor. Of course, the Precursor is that going into baseline. As you know, it's happening on Fridays at 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central, at 2 p.m. Pacific time, the same time this program is on right now. Always wanting you to be well where you are. First of all, applause. Applause to one Jimmy Kimmel, which was a tour de force yesterday and a masterclass. What he has done to come back to the airways. Jimmy Kimmel returned to those very same airways last night after his late night show was preempted for nearly a week. In more than a 15 minutes monologue, at the top of the show, Kimmel gave an impassioned defense of free speech, needled the chairman of the Federal Communications Commission and President Donald Trump, and explained his comments about the response to the killing of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. It was never my intention to make light of the matter of the murder of a young man, Kimmel said, his voice choking up with emotion. I don't think there's anything funny about it. Nor, he said, was his intention to blame any specific group, saying he understood that to some, that's what it sounded like. Quote, that was really the opposite of the point I was trying to make, Kimmel said. But to some, the some that felt ill timed or unclear, or maybe both, for those who think I did point a finger, I get where you're coming from. I get that you're upset. If the situation was reversed, there's a good chance I would have felt the same way. How you doing, Barbara Jean? Wednesday afternoon greetings to you too. I know you're feeling under the weather. How you feeling? How's everything in your world? Hope you're getting better in time. As Barbara Jean, of course, on Facebook Live and of course through the YouTube channel, of course, the Chris Space channel, all one word. Subscribe, like, and share. Make sure you do all that. Going back to the Kimmel story, quote, I don't think the murderer who shot Charlie Kirk represents anyone. This is a sick person who believed violence was a solution, and it isn't ever. Kimmel criticized statements from the FCC chairman, Brendan Carr, calling them efforts and un American censorship, and thanked his supporters for late night comics and even conservatives such as Ben Shapiro and Ted Cruz for speaking out. This show is unimportant, Kimmel said. What is important is that we get to live in a country that allows us to have a show like this. Let's see. Comment section, go back to the peanut gallery here. You feeling better? Okay, that's good, Barbara Jean. Glad to read. What's up, Omar? Says, hello, Chris. Happy Wednesday, buddy. I am here. Glad you are here. Thank you. How are you doing? Exactly. What part of Georgia do you live? I keep forgetting. Forgive me. I'm an old man. Well, Chris, you're only 58. Well, 58 is old 58. So I keep forgetting. So please type in, of course, where exactly in Georgia are you? I keep slipping my mind. So I just want to acknowledge that where you are. Kimmel, he closed his monologue on another emotional note, referring to the remarks made by Erica Kirk at her late husband's memorial service on Sunday, in which she said she forgave his suspected killer. Another quote by Kimmel: if you believe in the teachings of Jesus, as I do, there it is. That's it. A selfless act of grace, forgiveness from a grieving widow, and it touches me deeply. It touched me deeply, Kimmel said, adding if there's anything we should take from this tragedy to carry forward, I hope it can be that and not this. After returning from the first commercial break, Robert De Niro appeared via satellite for a skit in which he played the FCC commissioner, and Kimmel later continued with his traditional monologue, cracking jokes about the faulty escalator at the United Nations headquarters that stopped working as Trump and First Lady Melania Trump were ascending it on a Tuesday morning. The Walt Disney Company, the parent company of ABC, announced the return of late night show Jimmy Kimmel Live with a statement on Monday saying that they had engaged in a thoughtful conversations with Kimmel during the break. Last Wednesday, we made a decision in suspending production on the show to avoid further inflaming a tense situation and emotional moment for our country. It is a decision we made because we felt some of the comments were ill-timed and thus insensitive, Disney said in a statement. We have spent the last days having thoughtful conversations with Jimmy, and after those conversations, we reached the decision to return the show on Tuesday. Before Tuesday's show aired, Donald Trump criticized Kimmel and ABC. This is what Trump said. I can't believe ABC fake news gave Jimmy Kimmel his job back. Trump posted on his social media platform. Why would they? Why would they want someone back who does so poorly? He's not funny. ABC previously announced on September 17th that Kimmel's show would be preempted indefinitely after comments made by Kimmel last week regarding the death of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Before the network's decision was announced last week, Carr suggested that Kimmel should be suspended over the comments. And I went back and watched the monologue that Kimmel did before his return, and I don't see anything wrong with what he said. He did not name any specific group, like the article said, and he did not say that one side or other side did it about, at the time, who the shooter was. We didn't know who the shooter was. The shooter was still at large during this time. So that to me was just trying to get him off the air, period. Again, Trump uses bully pulpit to go after his enemies. That's all it was. I didn't see anything that he said that warranted for him to be removed in the first place. Let's see, so Omar types, okay, Warner Robins, Georgia, got it. What's up, Redmond? Lydell Redmond, how you doing, sir? Thank you for being here. Man, good to see you, Doc. How's everything? I've had him on a few times and very gracious to come back. And, anytime you want to come back, Doc, you have a home here. Thank you for that. This is a victory. And it's not just for Kimmel, it's for all of us when it comes to free speech. 11 million viewers on YouTube and counting, going back to Kimmel's first day back on the job. Once again, 11 million viewers on YouTube and rising and counting as we speak, as we're here. The people have spoken. The reason why? Well, Walt Disney was losing money. That's what it was. That's where the conversation came back to Kimmel with. They went on strike. I mean, the people have spoken. And there are times, I'll be completely transparent with you, there are times when I look at this country doing all these type of stories over the years, going on now 30 years, doing talk shows and producing and things of that nature, it gets very dark. And it seems like there's no hope in sight. What happened in these past 6 days before Kimmel got back on the air during that time, I have my faith restored in humanity. The people did speak. They boycotted the amusement parks. They unplugged their subscriptions for Disney Plus. Disney lost, at the time I saw in the article, $3.7 billion with a B, boys and girls. $3.7 billion. That's how you do it. That's exactly how you do it. Go in the pocketbook. Then you get their attention. Then they want to talk. Because he wasn't sure, he shouldn't have been suspended in the first place. It was bullshit. It was. Because again, going back to serving for Trump, because Trump wanted to get rid of Stephen Colbert on CBS, and he got that. Once again, Colbert will leave the CBS network and the Late Show next year. And what do you say? Kimmel is next. And Kimmel was next. But now he's back. So what are you going to do now? Have a temper tantrum like he said uh, about Kimmel and calling ABC fake news, things like that? I was seeing somewhere, I think it was Inside Edition, some of the lines of that Trump wants to try to sue ABC because once again, when you let a bully you, he or she will come back. Why? Because they got you in their hip pocket. They can control you. So he was saying on the lines that they gave me $6 million, so why not try to go back for more? And ABC, Disney did a great thing by doing this. I don't know if they took it seriously or not, regardless of Nexstar, regardless of Sinclair being the affiliates, and mostly Sinclair has said that the company does not, and they refuse to air the Kimmel Show. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Be like that. It just keeps the wedge of divisiveness in this country. It continues on. Sinclair's always been a conservative company anyway. This doesn't surprise me a bit. But when you have somebody who goes forward and takes that first step, if you're a fan of the Three Stooges, like I am, if you catch in one of the episodes, one of the shorts, Mo, Larry, and Curly say Mo, Larry, and Curly are part of the military, and they're part of a line, and the sergeant comes up, there's a huge battlefield 10 miles from here. I need one volunteer to go help out with the people on the line. Mo and Larry always step back and leave Curly by himself. Congratulations, young man. You're about to go on the fort. Who, me? You know, that sort of thing. So there's always somebody takes a step forward. So in this situation with Disney and ABC and Sinclair, stuff like that, all you need is somebody to take one step forward and say, you know what? I don't like his conversation. I don't like his setup routine. I don't like his monologue about the president. And everybody else falls into play. Everybody else falls in line. That's what's happening here. You don't have to like what Kimmel says. You can turn it off. Like go back to 47. He's so caught up in what people say about him. The man never grew up. There is no adulthood in him whatsoever. He's a fucking child. He is. Because you think about it, this whole thing started with him being thin-skinned anyway about what Obama said when he was president back at the correspondence dinner. That's where all this had come from. It's all personal. All of this when it comes to Trump. And the only reason, because going back, well, I'm going back, but we can talk about it yet, but we can talk about it now. Him at the UN, meaning President Trump, spoke for 1 hour, just all over the place. You know, the escalator stopped at the UN building. Him and Melania had to walk up. He complained about that. Told all the delegates, y'all going to hell. So it's no big surprise. It's just that this is what you get when you vote for a person who betrayed you. Going back to Trump when he said about lowering the prices of, say, groceries. And he hasn't, at an all-time high where we are right now. There you go. Let's see. Good morning, afternoon, good evening, and good night to one sick day. How you doing, sick? Thank you for being here as always and taking the time. It makes it look like a crime syndicate trying to muscle everybody through the various government agencies. Well, right, because we do this the easy way or the hard way. That's some gangster shit that you see on television and movies, going back to FCC Chairman Brendan Carr. We said on a podcast that led into Kimmel being dismissed for those 6 days. Again, what the entire hell? What the entire blue hell? These wanksters, these wannabe gangsters, these wanksters like Trump, like Brendan Carr, like all of them. I know some real gangsters. I mean, gangster. Now you may feel that way if you're Trump because look, you beat 34 counts, been indicted a few times when you were in office the first time, got away with years ago. We said grab 'em by the pussy, so you feel emboldened. You feel like nothing sticks to you. But the fact that you can't take a joke is beyond disturbing. The man is old, and the only reason Trump wants wants a Nobel Peace Prize is because Obama has a Nobel Peace Prize. That's the only reason. Because Obama lives rent free in his mind. He does. I mean, come on now. Let's see. Let me go back to the comment section here. Sick types of Sinclair, as in Sinclair Broadcasting. Correct. Yes, that's what I'm referring to. Sinclair Broadcasting. Since I can remember, they've always been conservative based. Let's see. I'm trying to act up here. Okay, there you go. Hello, everybody. How you doing? Good afternoon, Chris and Base Nation. How you doing, Ann? Thank you for being here. As we get the dinner menu. Hold on. Get that one. All right. So homemade cheeseburgers with grilled white onions and homemade dinner potato fries and chocolate milkshakes with freshly whipped cream. Boy, I'm telling you, I'm getting fat just reading that. I ain't no lie. Once again, the dinner menu at NFL has typed out cheeseburgers with grilled white onions and homemade dinner potato fries and chocolate milkshakes with uh, fresh whipped cream. I ain't mad at you. Great minds. We're having cheeseburgers too over here at the household. In fact, when I get off the air, I gotta finish preparing. We're gonna have the pretzel buns, cheese. Of course, my sister likes the like pepper jack cheese and stuff like that. So that some Swiss on it, some American, depending on what everybody likes. I know Caleb likes plain. He likes a hamburger, so I can get him hooked up. What's with steak fries, and of course you can have the lettuce, tomato, something like that. So yeah, the great minds. So we're having cheeseburgers tonight too here. Let's see. The main reason for Trump's presidency has always been to wipe, or at least uh, one of Obama's presidency. Well, again, he's obsessed with the man, Trump to Obama. Something's wrong up here. Really, with him, we all know that by now. But when it comes to Obama, it's just, dude, let it go. But he can't because Obama is somebody he wishes he could become. He wish he had Obama's looks. The whole thing is just stupid. The whole thing when it comes to him. And that's why it's always personal. And that's why we get what we're getting. As I was playing um, during Baseline the last Friday, if you're a citizen Trump, you have a beef with somebody, that's between y'all. It's wrong, but that's between y'all because that has nothing to do with us as the American people. But we get hit because he's the one that's doing this from the platform of the presidency. Getting back to his political enemies and things like that. Dude, it's not that serious, but you made it that serious. So you go back to the comment section. Interval types, we use American cheese. Oh, yeah, so same here. So everybody gets their pick. So we got American cheese, Swiss, and pepper jack. So everybody has a cheeseburger smorgy borgy. Hey, Lisa, how you doing? Lisa London, good afternoon. Base Nation. Thank you for being here, Lisa. How's everything? That's nice. In my case, it has to be veggie burgers with non-soy veggie cheese or gluten-free buns with sweet potato fries. That's a good alternative. Yeah, that works. Whatever works, man. Whatever floats your boat. You do what works. And the great thing about today's climate is that you have these different types of alternatives. I haven't had any good sweet potato fries in a while. I actually like sweet potato fries. I had to get back on that. That's actually pretty good. And this whole thing again with Kimmel's return yesterday was triumphant. It was magnificent. It was great. It's a masterclass. He said something interesting before what I was saying before I was interrupted. I believe that's a nod to Jack Parr. Jack Parr was the second host of the Tonight Show back in the day, and Jack Parr had an issue with the NBC brass or censorship. It was both about something he was supposed to say, and they didn't like it. They were going to edit it. They said that's unacceptable. And I have a surprise for you. Just going back to Jack Parr. So Jack Parr, once again, live TV. If you ever seen 2020 back in the day with ABC with Hugh Downs was the announcer and sidekick to Jack Parr, going back to NBC back in the day. And Jack Parr says, a couple of things, and he says, I'm leaving the Tonight Show on live television. The Tonight Show back then was an hour and a half. In the first 5 minutes, he leaves. So he leaves 3 weeks pass and nothing happens. He don't know what to do with his life. And the NBC brass had chased him on the beach where he was, cornered him and said, look, Jack, why don't you come back and blah, blah, blah. So they made a deal. He came back. Here's Jack. Jack comes back, standing ovation. And then he says to the audience, now, what I was saying before I was rudely interrupted, everybody started to laugh. And Jack Parr says, I believe my last words were, there must be a better way to make a living than this. Well, I have looked, and there isn't. So seeing Jimmy Kimmel come back, and he made that reference, as I was saying before I was interrupted, I believe that was a nod to Jack Parr, and rightfully so. Once again, masterclass, go down in broadcast history. I couldn't be more proud of Jimmy Kimmel. This dude, I remember back in the day, he was on a show called The Man Show. That was on Comedy Central, him and Adam Carolla. And they were the duo, and it was a fun show, deal with, men in love for women and beer and stuff like that. It was a fun show. It really was. I liked it. And then I used to listen to Howard Stern back in the day, and then I would hear both Adam Carolla and Kimmel on with Howard Stern. And then there was a lull at one point. So it was two things that happened. So Adam Carolla is an interesting fellow because when Howard Stern left terrestrial radio, they divided the market into three parts. At the time, Howard was syndicated by Infinity, CBS radio. So David Lee Roth, who was the former lead singer of Jump, he had the East Coast. This guy named Rover, who was on the Midwest, I never even heard of him at all. I listened to him and not much to jump up and down about. He had the Midwest, and Adam Carolla had the West Coast. They divide up into three sections of the nation through their syndication of their morning shows. The only one that stayed the longest was Carolla. Carolla sounded better. He had a personality, and he had more experience a little bit. And don't get me wrong, Rover came from Ohio while I was reading his bio before he got here to Chicago. When listening to the Midwest stuff, I wasn't feeling that, but Carolla was kicking it, and David Lee Roth, jump! That's all you got. I mean, it's radio's not as easy as you think it is. I keep telling people, doing this took years. Took years to get. Well, my favorite one. I could do what you do. I could do that. No, you can't. Oh Lord. Everybody, they could be people who are naturals, and I run into those people too. And I support them. I would put my arm around them if they want some tutelage and some advice along the way. But just a knucklehead or ne'er do well, I could do that. Or things of that nature. No, 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 that's not fair. I don't go around saying I could do construction work. I'll go around saying I could be a doctor or a lawyer. I'll go around saying I could be um, an older person. I mean, I could if I put my mind to it, but that's not my bag. So this whole thing has been circling around the First Amendment being challenged, and I do believe this is a victory. I'm going to stick with that because when you're trying to silence someone like a Stephen Colbert on CBS and now Kimmel, and Kimmel comes back, that affects us all on all levels, not just people doing a late night show. It's a show, for God's sake. Say what you want to say. Jack Parr, Johnny Carson, David Letterman, Jay Leno, Arsenio Hall, etc. They all stood on business. Jimmy Kimmel has the stories to stand on business. Absolutely. No, he's right up there with the people just mentioned. And he had thanked them too. He had thanked David Letterman. He had thanked his fellow talk show hosts, Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Fallon, Seth Meyers, John Oliver. He mentioned about him too. He mentioned all of them. All of them were in band with him to stand with him because it could be one of them as well. And then the 400 celebrities, 400 celebrities signed a online petition to get him back on air. 400. That means actors, producers, writers. 400. That's some serious number. That's serious, and you can't ignore it. But the linchpin, the that $3.7 billion lost. Let's see. We got here as do men like Jon Stewart, Stephen Colbert, and John Oliver. Right, correct, absolutely. Absolutely. They don't make them like that anymore. Also thanked Conan O'Brien. He thanked Howard Stern. And so I completely understand where he's coming from because depending on your profession, you hear and read about people who are just legends in the business, legendary people, and for my example, in radio. And it's like, damn. I mean, they're really blazing the trail. They may not know they're blazing the trail, but they blaze the trail nonetheless. And I, for one, was always in awe of people who were doing this, whether it was talk or music or whatever. Just seemed so natural. But I knew that took time to happen overnight. Even as a rookie coming in with Simlac behind my ears, and as a rook, I knew that took time. So respect the craft, respect the profession, respect it. Just like any other profession, respect it. The people I admired were just lights off, fantastic. Let's see. I remember when Jon Stewart walked away from Apple TV over a conflict of interest, and was it last year? Next thing you know, he's back hosting the Daily Show. Yeah, he's doing the Monday thing like Rachel Maddow on MSNBC. He's just doing one day out the week, unless it's a special like the whole thing with Jimmy Kimmel, and he'll come back for a special during the week. I mean, Jon Stewart's name was up to replace Letterman at one point. When Letterman was talking about stepping down, his name was in that conversation to become the host of the next of late night of the Late Show on CBS. So when I see all these other people like going back, Conan O'Brien grew on me. I did not like the man, but he grew on me, and I appreciate his quirkiness, his wackiness, and you start to see a person's personality because it's something like that. When you're doing a show like that, of course, it's personality driven. The person galvanizes the show, just like I'm doing here, and other talk show hosts, other shows on the internet, podcasting, and the whole nine. So you put yourself out there and see what happens. Like like the class, they throw up the flagpole and see what happens, and see if it sticks, see if it works, see if people like what you do. They don't have to like what you do, but they'll watch and listen anyway for some reason. I never could understand it. If you don't like me, then why are you listening? Like, I don't know if you were here for that troll that I had a while back, a few weeks ago, and the white guy that called from wherever and was testing me to see if I was stupid. Look, I've been on this ain't my first rodeo, doc. But again, you know how much energy you must have? First of all, you have too much time on your hands, first of all. Second of all, to troll me as an example and to get through like I'm Willie Lump Lump. So he's asking me about words that associated with black people and topics. They're like, dude, okay, I'll play the game with you. I'll meet you halfway. I'll play along with you. And to them, it's a victory. To me, it's insanity. I could have not taken the call. I could have cut him off. But no, I want you out there to listen to what we're dealing with out here in this universe, in this country and beyond. I don't mind. It don't hurt me. It's sad to someone to take that much time. To take that much time. You can call me a name if you want to. I know who the fuck I am. But see, as I said before, I fight fire with fire. The same energy you give me, or bad names, or cuss words, whatever, I give it right back to you. And once again, that's the classic bully. Bullies deal in high hypocrisy. As soon as you give them that same energy back, call the law. Oh my God, that's not fair. That's not right. How dare you? You dumb motherfucker. You go sit up there and keep hitting somebody in their chest. And then a person hits back and fuck you. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't have been doing it in the first place. But you think, just like Trump, who was a bully, you think that nobody should push back, that nobody should punch back, that nobody should have the audacity to say anything back to you at all. You must be out of your fucking mind. I'm sorry. It doesn't make any sense to me. And just the fact that CBS unfortunately sold out with the whole move. I told you before, that was a business move because they had to get the FCC chairman, Brendan Carr, to okay the merger of Paramount and Skydance Media. So now here we come back to ABC. ABC already gave Trump $16 million in a lawsuit already. So now you want to do the same thing to Kimmel, but now Kimmel's back. So now what are you going to do? Let's see. The trolls will always expose themselves one way or another, sick types. Yeah, they always do. The greats always repeat the craft. That's how they excel and carry on the legacy of the craft. Absolutely, but you have to respect that. That's what gets lost in translation sometimes. Sick diggy. Some people don't respect the craft. Some people just look at it and then say, "I could do it." Okay, then we'll tell you what. Why don't you go to school, go to a college, have your major in mass communications or radio or TV, whatever, and probably all. Sit in class, do your homework, combine with your other courses, and why don't you learn it? You're going to do it, let's do it right. They're not going to do it, of course. But my point is respect the craft, respect it. Trolls hate when you, what's that? Troll them back? Oh, yeah, absolutely, because they can't take it because they're idiots. They shouldn't be doing it in the first place, but once again, they have all that time on their hands to do all that. Let's see. This is interesting about Trump and this diatribe he had for Tylenol. Politico has an article. The title reads Trump's Tylenol diatribe was rooted in frustration. Here's a part of the quote from that article. What the officials hoped to avoid was premature communication that could sow confusion or subject the administration to criticism that it had gotten ahead of the science. To their frustration, Trump wanted to move forward anyway. Once again, it shouldn't be surprising, but it's sad. He could now he couldn't even pronounce acetaminophen. Did you catch that part? He couldn't pronounce it. That's a big word there. You know, whatever he's aceta, Mama say my son Makusa. What was it? Acetaminophen. Was that good? Okay, I get an A. I get a star. Okay, good. That you had Robert Kennedy Jr. on one side and Dr. Oz on the other. Oh my God, Dr. Oz. This whole cabinet is just it's a merry-go-round of assholes. It just makes you shake your damn head when you see who this so-called administration is sick. Yeah. Let's see. So, as you know, Trump addressed the United Nations General Assembly on Tuesday, the 80th anniversary of the world body. 47 criticized European allies over green energy, immigration, and other issues. 47 also blasted the UN as a whole, asking what is the purpose of the United Nations. Okay. Trump said in a social media post after meeting with Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky that he believes Ukraine can win back all its territory from Russia in its original form with support from Europe. After several key Western allies of the United States announced before the UN General Assembly meeting that they would recognize a Palestinian state, Trump said that that would embolden Hamas. Quote, the rewards would be too great, he said. Instead of giving in to Hamas's random demands, those who want peace should be united with one message: release the hostages now. Trump said the prolonged war in Ukraine is making Russia look bad, saying it was supposed to be just a quick little skirmish. While in New York, Trump is expected to meet with leaders of Ukraine, Argentina, and the European Union, among others. Yeah, more like an assortment of yes women or men stick to type. Well, yeah. Well, that's what he did to gut out the cabinet post to put everybody in there as yes people, so that way we won't have any pushback. There are no more guardrails. See what he did with the generals. He got them all out. The four-star generals got them all out. So you have yes people. Cash Patel, all of them, just yes people. Brendan Carr, yes person. Ass kissing. That's it. And it's amazing that all this is happening because, again, I circle back to Kimmel's victory of being back on the air. We all know to some degree free speech ain't free, but it's the only one we got. That we could be in a country and do not like something and could vocalize it without somebody coming after us. But the scary part is that that could happen. The scary part is that it can be just one uniformed information cycle. not having the various stations and news outlets and things like that, it becomes very, very frightening if we're not careful. Let's see. And again, when you're looking at how people are trying to navigate through life in this country, people like Trump make it more difficult. And you get what you pay for. Your vote counts for something. You vote this man into office. The 107 Days book by former Vice President Kamala Harris is out now. I got to get that book. I saw little excerpts of her on the news. I had to go. I DVR'd her appearance with Rachel Maddow. I haven't seen it yet. She was on The View yesterday, and again, she was on The View. She made that point on the show and in the book about policies and things like that. Is paraphrasing, and she said she didn't know something on those lines. And some people say that could have been the death knell because you have a specific answer when it came down to, again, kind of like breaking away from Biden and the ideology of the Democratic Party. That's the whole thing was confusing because from the standpoint of the Democratic Party, because as we know, we've seen the story of when Biden was taken out from running for the presidency, and she had 3 months and some change to try to run for, and she did. I thought it was very successful, again, in the history books. But from the standpoint of what could have been had she won, we wouldn't have all this. We wouldn't have a tyrant and a dictator and things like that, because that's what he wants to be. That's the one thing he said that I believed, because he's a bold-faced liar. But he did make it clear that he was going to be a dictator on day one, and they would go after his political enemies. He said that, and he's rang true to that. Dallas ICE facility shooting, one detainee dead and two more injured. One detainee is dead and two more are in critical condition following a shooting at a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement field office in Dallas, according to the Department of Homeland Security. The FBI is investigating it as an act of targeted violence. The shooter, identified by sources as Joshua John, died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound after he fired indiscriminately at the ICE building from a nearby rooftop, according to the DHS. FBI Director Kash Patel posted an image of a bullet casing on social media found near the suspected shooter, showing uh, one with the words "anti-ICE" written on it. The League of United Latin American Citizens, known as LULAC, condemned Wednesday's shooting at Dallas ICE facility. Violence is never the answer in our nation. Must not be normalized by these horrific acts. Roman Mares, LULAC president and chairman of the board, said in a news release. We grieve with the families of the victims and urge Americans to lower the temperature in our public discourse. Gabriel Rosales, the organization's Texas director, called the incident a tragedy. No family should suffer such pain. Um, the temperature in this country is on high and beyond when it comes to politics, when it comes to political violence, political theater. And no, you can't blame Trump for everything, but he stirs the pot. You can't blame him for everything, but he fans the flames of elitism, racism, socialism, the whole nine, elitism, everything. That's what you have in the office right now. And so, with all these deaths that are happening, you do wonder about your own safety. You do wonder about what the world is coming to at this point in time. What does this mean? Why is this going on? There is no excuse. But again, if you're a person that sees the horrific tone in this country, and you can't say one word on somebody getting that offended to try to take you out. The whole thing with Charlie Kirk, and I disagree with my daughter on this one, my oldest daughter, Brianna. She says good riddance to him. He preached violence. He did not like anybody. He was elite and everything else. Cool. Okay. I can see where the anger is at. But see, when this type of thing happens, then you have people out there who get empowered, copycats, feel like they're a part of the cause to avenge Charlie Kirk's death. You have people out there who would gravitate towards that, and you have more violence. This is a person who believed in the right to bear arms, and he says, on a paraphrase, something along the line of, "If I die for the cause, then just let it so be it." And once again, I'm paraphrasing when it comes to how he felt about the right to bear arms. 31 years old, shot in the neck. Once again, I saw the footage before they took it down on the internet, and it is disturbing. And they used the word in the news, assassination. I'm kind of, I'm not really cool with that. Now, don't get me wrong. They, meaning the people who follow him and the MAGA movement, people like that, whoever, conservatives, has already put him at the top of him being a martyr. He got the martyrdom. He got that. Then, of course, you have people like, again, Trump and others who are using it as a political football to push their own agendas. Once again, his wife, Kirk's wife, said in a memorial that she forgave the man who shot her husband. That's what she said. And Jimmy Kirk, not Jimmy Kirk, Jesus, forgive me, finding names. Jimmy Kimmel said that yesterday during the show about Charlie Kirk. But Trump, when he was there at the memorial, said, "I hate my enemies. I hate my enemies." Not even a tiny bit of remorse. Well, we don't expect it, but it's just the damage of shame. It's sad. Because that's what I mean by stroking the embers, fanning the flames of racism and fire. And people like Trump don't give a fuck because, hey, it's all about him. We're just here. But again, making a strong statement like that about forgiving the man who shot her husband. Now, some people saying that she's not really grieving. There were fake tears and everything else. Who are we to say? See, when people do something like that, and once again, having a daughter, conversation with my daughter Brianna about this, people grieve differently. So, who are we to say you're not grieving right? We should see some tears. We people grieve differently. So, like, she want to take over the organization that he established and things of that nature. I don't know about all that. All I know is that what I read in the news, what I see on videos and television. So I don't see the fact of her taking over the organization from the standpoint of conspiracy theories concerned that she or others had him taken out. Some people said Trump had him taken out because he was becoming a threat. Now, what it mean to Trump? Because Trump can't run again, or will he? Because again, we're only into year one. I believe that Trump wants to get out the Constitution to find a way and create a way for him to be president forever. I know it sounds crazy, but we're living in crazy times. So why not have a crazy thought behind that? You won't go after people with the First Amendment right to speak out. You want to destroy that. Go after your so-called political enemies. You want to so-called destroy them. But you create the temperature by cutting on the flames of fire. That's what you're doing, Mr. President. And this is further recall, Mr. President. I really don't give a fuck about him, to be honest with you. But for the standpoint of not having a world where you look over both shoulders. If you're paranoid to begin with, your height of paranoia has to go through the roof at this point. Hey, Barbara Gina, collateral damage. That's right, collateral damage. Correct. That should say something. If Jimmy Kimmel go on his to return on his show last night and mentioned about the teachings of Jesus and an act of forgiving that Charlie Kirk's wife said at the memorial. And he said, that's it. That if you are a Christian or believe in Allah or believe in a God or a deity, whatever the name of the deity or God is, align yourself with what he said, align yourself with the fact about forgiveness. Now, not everybody can forgive, mind you. No. But there has to be something to bring back some sort of semblance of order. Some people say maybe we cannot turn back. I don't believe we cannot turn back. I believe that collectively we can win. Collectively we can get through this. It's not easy. Hey, uh, come on now. We've been through Reagan. We've been through both the Bushes. To the point of, because I hate what you say, you have to get out of here. You have to be terminated. Is completely dismissive. What about the widows of Dr. King, John F. Kennedy, his brother Bobby Kennedy, Malcolm X, Medgar Evers, and a host of others who were taken out because of their beliefs, because of their words, mind you, their words. You don't have to listen to these people. Going back in the day or even now. You don't have to listen. No, so who make you listen? You don't have to listen to these people and go about your merry way. Same with the president. You don't have to listen to watch these talk shows. It's like you're finding something to go against. You're finding something because you, once again, thin skin can't take it, just like him and others. You can't take it. Um, it's very daunting and tiring to go through all this with people, but unfortunately, we have to. We fortunately have to fight the good fight, fight the bad fight. Got to fight, fight, fight. That's all we. That's hey, Chuck D, Public Enemy. Fight the powers that be. We can't ignore it, and nor should we. Because who's going to fight for us? Think about it. I mean, seriously, who's going to fight for you? The rate this country is going, the rate this president is going, and you just have to understand that these are strange days, and we have to fight for what we believe in. Let's see. I stopped watching late night TV several years ago. I used to watch Jimmy Fallon, and Jimmy's a little bit too silly for me. Jimmy's okay. I didn't. Okay, here's my beef with Jimmy Fallon. So when he was on the on Saturday nights with Saturday Night Live, There's a rule, unless it's part of the script or part of the bit, not to look into the camera. You don't break the fourth wall. You're in the zone with your fellow actors and comedians like that. That's what you do. But you always looked into the camera. That always pissed me off. I'm sorry. I don't know. It was a, just a, I don't know. I like the guy sometimes, but that whole thing, and don't get me wrong, at times he'd be good at what he does, being Jimmy Fallon, being the host of the Tonight Show. I get it. He's cool with me. Look, when he had and when he was doing okay, he was really practicing on social media. He was on YouTube first, but they bumped him up to replace Conan O'Brien on NBC on a late night. And so when he had the Roots as his house band, oh yeah, you get extra point. You get street cred, doctor. I give you that. And him on Saturday Night Live, yeah, that kind of threw me off a little bit. Sick, I stopped watching late night over a decade ago. I might catch the highlights on YouTube if I'm interested. Yeah, I stopped watching it myself. For me, it was always Carson, Letterman, Arsenio, O'Brien over that time. Over that time for me. That was like, to me, like the golden years of late night TV, especially Arsenio. Arsenio changed the game. There was somebody that looked like me, somebody black that was doing late night television and was kicking ass. He was killing the game. Syndicated through Paramount. He was lights out, man. I think for me, watching late night TV, that really gave me confidence because I was in college, pursuing once again majoring in radio broadcasting, and made sure I was home to watch Arsenio. He would air here locally in Chicago at 11:30 p.m. When he moved the time to 11:35 or 10:35, so he had extra spots, extra commercials. That's the reason why he did that. But before it was just straight 11:30 p.m. Central. He was on Channel 2, once again, syndication would be on different stations, but CBS, man, he was killing the game. And then he came back. Remember, he was on a stint, in fact, on a stint with a celebrity, um, what's that crap? Don't tell me. Hold on. Don't get old. You want to stay young, don't get old. He was on NBC. Then he revised his talk show, The Apprentice. He was on Celebrity Apprentice. He won that, became like, you know, reboosted his content, and then they gave him a show and wasn't doing so well because I was reading an executive producer had left and the monologue wasn't hitting. It was almost going to tank. But this is when Tribune Broadcasting was still going. So Tribune Broadcasting syndicated his second version of the show, like, was it 19 years later, something outrageous. And he was doing that, and Jay Leno comes out to surprise him, to tell him that you'd be renewed for a second season. Hooray. Then what happened 2 months later, like 2 or 3 months later, they canceled the show. Jesus. Yeah, they canceled it. So my faith in late night really went down after that because to me, I don't take anything away. I like Colbert. I like Colbert. And I like Fallon. Not Fallon. I like Kimmel. Fallon, not so much. I mean, he's there. Jon Stewart, I like. So, man, let's see. Barbara Jane. I watched Arsenio Hall and until they yanked his show away. Absolutely. Same here. I miss watching late night TV with Mama. The way Mama would say hi, and what was it? And Fallon was funny. Okay, I give you that. Oh, you already old. Did you, by any chance, misplace the memo? Yeah, I'm already old. I'm old as fuck. Yeah, I know that, Barbara Jean. I have to be told again that I'm old. I understand that. Yeah. It was amazing about old. As a matter of fact, depending on how you look at your age, when I tell people I'm old, oh, he ain't that old. I ain't gonna sit and tell me I ain't that old. Look, as I said before, I'm an old 58. I've always been old in my mind in some capacity. Anyway, I think I've had an old soul anyway. But my body tells you different. My body has aches and pains and aches. So I'm old. I'm an ON, not a YN, an ON. Ooh, wait. So we're about to skedaddle. Again, congratulations to Jimmy Kimmel for his return to late night television last night on ABC. Jimmy Kimmel Live is a victory for not just him, for all of us. I'm so happy that it happened, and we got to get behind him, man. We got to support him again. I told you, 11 million viewers on YouTube and counting. And somebody like Trump or others who try to deflect or try to uh, bully, got to punch the bully back. We have to. The fight is on. Let's get out of here. As always, I thank you so much for your time. I thank you for taking time out to be here with me. As you know, the Precursor airs on Wednesdays that you hear right now. Also, of course, this leads into Baseline. Haha, see how that worked? So catch me on Friday for Baseline. Good Lord willing, Creek don't rise. 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central, and 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Continue to be safe. Continue to be sound. Continue to be healthy. And most importantly, above anything else, continue to be loved. Long live the peace. Long live the funk. More power to you. As always, in parting with you, my friends, always keep your head up.